Kryeministri i Kosovës Albin Kurti sot të takoi Mërgatën në Oslo të Norvegjisë me fillim nga ora 20. Në njoftimin e lëvizjes vetëvendosje thuhet se Kurti do të jetë i shoqëruar nga Ministri e Punëve të Jashtme dhe Diasporës Tonika Gërvalla. Sot, më 8 nëntor, Kryeministri Albin Kurti dhe zëvendës Kryeministria, njëherëzi Ministri e Punëve të Jashtme dhe Diasporës Tonika Gërvalla, do të takojnë Mërgata në Oslo, Norvegji. Takimi fillon në orën 20. Ky takim është pjesë e një serie takimesh që Kryeministri po zhvillon me diasporën për të forcuar lidhjet dhe për të diskutuar rolin e rëndësishëm që ka diaspora për zhvillimet në Kosovë, thuhet tutje në njoftim.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Jakovic. Honorable President Dr. Emil Brix, dear esteemed colleagues from this panel, ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad to be here in the beautiful city of Vienna that has long been a hub of diplomacy, culture, economy, and intellectual exchange. It is here where world leaders, great artists, and political thinkers from across Europe were drawn. Between 2006 and 2007, negotiations on Kosovo's status took place here, mediated by UN Special Envoy and Nobel Peace Prize winner Marti Ahtisaari, whose right-hand man was first Albert Rohan. Austria is a steadfast partner of Kosovo, both before and after the independence of our country, and has offered us support and assistance in a number of fields, from economic development to cooperation in security. Foreign investment has consistently shown significant growth from Austria, increasing over 5 times in last 4 years. I will speak today on the topic of economic cooperation, which is a theme that matters to our country and our region. As a young country with a steadfast commitment to democracy and growth, we believe that partnerships are crucial to achieving prosperity and peace, not only within our borders, but across our region. The benefits of cooperation are evident. Before becoming a member of the European Union in 1995, Austria was part of the European Free Trade Association, known as EFTA, for 35 years, which played a significant role in paving the way for Austria's EU membership and steady economic growth. And we have just this summer concluded successfully negotiations for EFTA by including also services, and we're very happy in next couple of months to sign the agreement after successful negotiations on EFTA. Kosovo is, in addition, part of the Central European Free Trade Agreement, known as CEFTA. After recent decisions, including Kosovo's direct representation, it holds the promise of moving the region much faster towards the single market and full membership in the European Union. For us, economic cooperation is not just a policy choice, it is a strategic necessity. Our success and progress hinge on our ability to create an environment that fosters cross-border trade, attracts investment, and builds bridges with neighboring countries. Last month, on the 10th anniversary of the Berlin process, in Berlin, I announced that Kosovo will enable freedom of movement for all holders of ID cards of Bosnia and Herzegovina. This will end the long wait and the expensive procedures of needing a visa to travel freely. Of course, I hope that in the remaining time, Bosnia and Herzegovina will be able to ratify the Berlin Process Agreement, so even earlier citizens of both our countries can move freely with ID cards. But even if they don't do this, from 1st of January 2025, all citizens of Bosnia and Herzegovina with their ID cards will come freely to Republic of Kosovo. Freedom of movement is one of the 4 basic freedoms and has enabled the mobility of people across Europe, and so must be the case between our 2 countries. Kosovo and Bosnia and Herzegovina, who suffered greatly, especially in the late 90s. Because without the freedom of movement, we will not be able to get the mobility of workers, students and professionals, which is key to both attracting foreign direct investments and growing our economy. Similarly, our northern neighbor, Serbia, must allow foreigners whose destination is Kosovo to also be able to go to Serbia afterwards. Unfortunately, whoever from Austria comes to Kosovo first cannot continue to Serbia without going first to North Macedonia. Because from the perspective of official Belgrade, coming to Kosovo first means illegal entry in the territory of Serbia. For good neighborly relations, for economic cooperation, this has to be changed. Likewise, in Berlin, I also said that 25 years ago, after NATO's intervention, which saved our people, Serbia's airspace remains closed for commercial flights to and from Kosovo. This is neither good for neighborly relations, for economic cooperation, nor for climate adaptation. Flights from Vienna to Pristina and from Pristina to Vienna could be much shorter and pollute less if Serbia allows commercial planes whose destination is Pristina to fly through Serbia's airspace. So yes, agreements that remove barriers to trade are essential, but they rest upon good cooperation, good faith, good intentions. Through common regional market, we are moving in the direction where we will not only be able to access a broader market, but also to integrate our economy with our neighbors. This will help businesses in Kosovo gain exposure, scale up, and become more competitive. By eliminating tariffs, harmonizing standards, and promoting the free movement of goods and services, we become much stronger economically, create jobs, and support our local industry. Yet, common regional market and CEFTA are only the bridge, but we need to build further on them. We aspire to enhance this regional collaboration in ways that address both long-standing and emerging challenges. My country, like many other countries, has felt the impacts of global economic uncertainties and supply chain disruptions, especially in recent years. We need economic cooperation, not just because it gives us resilience to weather such shocks together, but because we want to remove barriers and create new opportunities for our citizens. So when people think in terms of economic cooperation, they should be thinking on possibilities and opportunities rather than on challenges and dangers. And we have shown that we are a standard bearer when it comes to rules and values. In the recent years, we have shown that democracy and economy go hand in hand. Today, we have certain powers and superpowers in the world who want to show that development doesn't need democracy. Our country is not a big country, but it's a great example that democratic progress and economic growth go hand in hand, and they actually enforce each other. The annual economic growth for the period 2008-2020 on average has been 3.65% of GDP, whereas for the period 2021-2023, the annual economic growth has been 6.2% of GDP on average. This means that in the last 3 years, we tripled GDP growth. In comparison to the first pre-pandemic year, 2019, the economy of Kosovo grew by almost 50%. We doubled our exports and foreign direct investments. We added 24% new jobs compared to what we found when we took office in 2021. And as a result, unemployment fell from almost 26% to around 10%. For us, economic growth means social well-being, growth is not supposed to be held back for the state. It should be distributed in the society. And to create equal opportunities for all. Every 8th euro of our growing economy, which was achieved despite multiple crises, was redistributed to the most vulnerable who were struggling with economic crisis, citizens and small businesses. This made our government having the biggest support package in the region relative to GDP, confirmed by the World Bank. We introduced for the first time allowances for newborn, new mothers and newborn children, increased pensions by 20%, and more than doubled minimum wage. All this was done without changing fiscal policy and while maintaining the lowest public debt in Europe, around 15%, so that we do not develop or grow at the expense of future generations. Meanwhile, we lead the region for improvement in democracy. We're among top 3 performers for improvement in the rule of law, ranking 3rd out of 15 countries in Eastern and Central Europe. And we have had the highest improvement in the region in the fight against corruption. And together with Montenegro, we lead the region for improvements in political rights and civil liberties and in liberal and electoral democracy. I mention these numbers because these are not merely statistics. They show that political choices matter because they directly impact the business climate and the lives of citizens for better or worse. Kosovo's future, however, extends beyond regional cooperation alone. The new EU growth plan and our alignment with the European Union's policies present a path forward for us to integrate with one of the world's largest economic blocs. The EU growth plan offers a clear roadmap for achieving sustainable development through investments in key areas such as infrastructure, digital transformation, and green energy, priorities which brings us closer to our aspiration of becoming a modern, knowledge-based economy ready to join the European Union. With the average age of the population 34, we have a young and dynamic workforce that can drive innovation and entrepreneurship if given the right support. From youth in Kosovo, everyone speaks English. Many of them speak German as well. Quite some speak languages of our neighborhood, Bosnian, Croatian, Serbian. Some also speak Turkish. So with this energetic, talented, multilingual youth, we offer a great opportunity for business process outsourcing and for ever-increasing economic investment and trade exchange. Each euro invested in infrastructure, each project funded in renewable energy represents an opportunity for us to create jobs and provide the next generation with the skills and opportunities they need to thrive in the 21st century, but also for foreign companies to grow and profit. But this is not just about Kosovo. Our country's progress is interlinked with the progress of our neighbors. You cannot forever shine in a neighborhood without the entire neighborhood shining alike. And to that end, we are committed to working together because we believe that we all stand to gain when the region is more prosperous and more secure. So all the countries of Southeast Europe, when thought from big Western and world corporations, they see us part of the same neighborhood. And to that end, we have to increase our cooperation. With the exception of our northern neighbor, unfortunately, all countries of Western Balkans, all are either part of NATO or have NATO as part of us. And we all want to join the European Union. As a region, I believe we would be advancing a lot faster towards membership in the European Union if it wasn't for certain autocratic tendencies, backward-looking and expansionist mindset of some. That is why economic cooperation and integration cannot be solely about growth statistics and trade agreements. It's also about fostering democratic resiliences within the countries and solidarity of democracies across the countries. We do not see economic cooperation as a zero-sum game, but as an opportunity for joint achievements. Lasting partnerships are those that are based not on convenience or a commodity, but on a shared commitment to the values of democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. So when we join democracy and economy, I believe we gain what we need most: economic security while preserving human dignity. Our relations with European Union in general and with Austria in particular are based on such foundations. They are strong and lasting, and we will work hard to have them ever grow more and better. Thank you for your attention, and I want to thank Vienna Economic Forum and for bridging us together more than once per year. Thank you.
Would you also recommend Ukraine to adopt the euro similar in the post-reconstruction phase? And what's your opinion on currency policy in the region? Thanks a lot.
I like to think of Vienna Economic Forum also as a fidelity to the legacy of Mr. Erhard Busek. As Vice Chancellor of Austria, he was the first to embark in a process of recognizing diploma of Pristina's university in the early 90s. And then with the Stability Pact, I think that he outlined the vision which nowadays continues with Berlin process. Before answering to your question, I would like to say one simple thing regarding EU enlargement. I'm very happy that EU enlargement is back on the Brussels discussion table. This was not the case beforehand. Now, in her second term, Madam President Ursula von der Leyen has as a top priority the region of the Balkans, and EU growth plan is together with common regional market the driving force towards this enlargement. So it's very good that we have enlargement back on the agenda. I dare say that only from the perspective of enlargement, EU can reform itself internally. Without taking this bold step of enlargement, I do not see the necessary energy and willingness for internal reform, which is likewise needed. On the other hand, the opposite is equally true. Only an EU which is ready to also undergo certain reforms internally will be able to ever enlarge. So external enlargement and internal reform are not only going hand in hand, but they are conditions to one another. And this is why the Western Balkans is so important also for EU, not only EU being indispensable for the Western Balkans. To go back to the quote from Mr. Borrell, that EU should not only speak with the power of language, but also with the language of power, precisely enlarging in Southeast Europe, EU will show this courage and will show to the world that it is a brave actor on a world stage. So it is very important, EU, to look brave. And the best way to look brave is to be brave. And to be brave means to enlarge. So we count very much on European Commission for the years ahead, and I do not think that our generation has a better chance than these upcoming years of this European Commission. Politically, culturally, economically, across the board. It was a wise decision to have euro as a currency for Kosovo. And we consider that the stability that we have had is also thanks to euro as a currency. I'm not in a position to speak on behalf of other countries what they should do. We know that euro is not a very cheap currency, so it depends very much from internal economic dynamics of exporting and fiscal policy. However, of course, one day to have a very united Europe, common currency is something that should be in our horizon. But we consider that part of Kosovo's institutional stability is also ensured by having euro as a currency.
Thank you, sir. We have time for a few more questions. Right here in the front row, please.
Okay. Dear Ambassador Kircheva, dear Ambassador Briggs, and dear Prime Minister Kurti, and dear all, it's a pleasure for me to make a comment. And I'm the Dean of the Faculty of International Economics and Politics in the University of Economics in Sofia. The University of National and World Economy is the long name of this educational institution. And listening to the Prime Minister of Kosovo, I was thinking that I should make this comment. So on the 17th of February 2008, my students actually have this in their lectures. The independence of Kosovo was signed, but Bulgaria, supporting the integration of the Western Balkans to the European Union, officially signed and announced that we support the independence of Kosovo on the 20th of March 2008. It is exactly 1 month after you announced your independence. So we did the same with Macedonia, but no Prime Minister from Macedonia here, obviously. So I say this is a small example that Bulgaria is supporting fully, at least this is my opinion as researcher also and political analyst, the integration of the Western Balkans into the European Union, full integration, not partly, not chapter by chapter, not within unions and other plans. And just an example, which appeared, it was the idea of Professor Kircheva and Professor Briggs in Sofia, because Professor Kircheva was a professor in my university before she became an ambassador, like 20 years ago, and I know her from my lectures actually. So there was an idea between the two of them, of Ambassador Kircheva and Ambassador Briggs, that within the Vienna Economic Forum there will be the rectors committee. How was it called? For the platform that was here under discussion, the council of rectors from the region, maybe the Baltics will be invited, I don't know, but the platform of the rectors from the region under the league of the Vienna Economic Forum. And actually we will be very happy if you invite universities from your country and inform them about this possibility. Yes, great. I didn't know the colleague. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we?
4 awards that are waiting for ceremonial handover. The first award is handed over to the Republic of Kosovo, to His Excellency Prime Minister Albin Kurti. And here is the award that will be handed over from Dr. Kircheva. His Excellency, Mr. Prime Minister.
I would like to say to Prime Minister Kurti that Kosovo is in my heart. to repeat something. Prime Minister Kurti is not the first award. It's the first award, the award of Country Partner of the Year 2024. And I would like to give you, and on behalf of the President Brix also.
Can you hold it together? Gut, zusammen, ja.
Okay. Hey, thank you very much for your support.
Yeah, that's the focus.
Okay. So it's
Thank you.
So this is for the Country Partner of the Year 2024, and we have another award now for the Cooperation Partner of the Year 2024, and it's going to GB